Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to make a video going over what I think are the 10 best overall pieces of gear in this game. So for this list, what I am looking at is how much does this piece of gear affect my stats when I have only this piece of gear on, and also for this list I'm not going to have any more than one weapon, because if I had all the weapons on the list, most things on this list would be weapons because they affect your stats by far the most. Also, anything added after update 15.7 won't be in this video, and yeah, with that, let's get into my number 10 pick. Before we get into my number 10 pick, I do have a honorable mention, and this is the aura of garbage, or the garbage aura, whatever it's called. I don't have any other auras on this list or any auras in the list because obviously overall they don't affect your stats very much, but the garbage aura gives plus 20 to everything and is by far the best aura in the game. And yeah, so let's get into my number 10 pick. So this may seem like a weird one to start with, but at number 10 I have the Frost Dragon Scale Plate. So the reason why this is still one of the best items in the entire game is because overall it affects a lot of your stats. 75,000 attack, 10 speed, 150 defense, and 36,900 HP is still great. And with just this armor alone, I get a total of 1.2 million health, with still 75,000 attack, 48 crit, and plus 10 speed, and plus 150 defense. So this is still a fantastic armor piece. With that said, let's move on to number 9. So at number 9, I have the Tesla Ring. So you may be wondering, Shoshko, the stats on the Tesla Ring are so low, how is this better than the Frost Dragon? Well, the Tesla Ring is still viable to this day. 100 attack is pretty low, but the 125 crit and 30 speed is fantastic. The main reason why I have this at number 9 is because of its speed and crit. If you're severely lacking critical, this ring alone gets me up to 173, and then plus 30 speed is fantastic. It is the most speed on any single piece of gear in the game. So yeah, the Tesla Ring may have overall pretty low stats, but it such strongly affects your critical and speed that I put it on the list at number 9. For all gear's sake, I'm not going to have any pet gems on this list. I'm just going to stick to simply items, because pet gems are kind of their own thing. At number 8, I have the Rose King's Pendant. So the absolute only reason why this is on the list is because it gives massive damage at 120,000 attack, and it gives 10,000 HP, which isn't too bad. There is much better choices for necklaces, but when it comes to individual pieces of gear strongly affecting your stats, the Rose Pendant is fantastic for this. Plus 120,000 attack on a single piece of gear is really good, but the only reason why this thing doesn't score any higher on the list is because its HP is only 10,000, which is pretty bad, and overall there is better necklaces. This thing gives no other stats besides attack and HP, so yeah, you lose a lot of critical and you lose a lot of speed when compared to the other necklaces later on this list. The number 7 pick may seem kind of weird, but I chose Glacial Frost because Glacial Frost still gives fantastic stats. You're getting 55,000 attack, 10 crit, 10 speed, 10 defense, and 35,000 HP, all from one ring. So overall, this does pretty strongly affect your stats. The 10 speed is very nice. 55,000 attack and 35,000 HP on the same piece of gear is pretty balanced as well. With just this one ring on, I get plus 55,000 attack, plus 58 crit, 10 speed, 10 defense, 35,000 HP, which still puts me at over 1.2 million. So overall, if you still have a Glacial Frost ring and you're struggling to get any of the higher tier ones, I highly recommend you use it because it is still a very viable ring to use. At number 6, I have the Vince Lightning Coat. So this is a fantastic armor. It is the best offensive armor in the game. 75,000 attack, 60 crit, 15 speed, 20 defense, and 12,000 HP. So when we're talking about individual pieces of gear strongly affecting your stats, the Vince Lightning Coat is a very good one when it comes to that, because you just get a little bit of everything and you get a lot of offense. Now when it comes to actual armor in the game, there is something better to use, but this is by far the best offensive piece of armor. The only problem with it is a little bit hard to get, and it is pretty glass cannon to use at max level, but besides that, it is fantastic. If it gave more health, I would definitely rank it higher on the list, but its health is lacking, so it's only at number 6. At number 5, I have the Toxin Core. So this is a fantastic necklace when it comes to offense. 89,500 attack, 30 crit, 5 speed, and 32,050 HP. So when we're talking about pieces of gear that affect your stats a lot, this is definitely one. You're getting a lot of offensive capabilities while still getting a good amount of health. 32,000 HP on any piece of gear is very solid, especially when it's giving almost 90,000 attack while still giving 30 crit. Overall, if you have a Toxin core, I highly recommend you use it. It is pretty well rounded and overall is one of the best pieces of gear in the game and easily deserves the number 5 spot. It is a little bit hard to get because you can only get it from Dr. V's lab on hardcore, but besides that, it is great. My number 4 pick has to be Life Bloom. Life Bloom is the best ring in the entire game at the moment. It gives 150,000 attack, 75 crit, and 10,000 HP. So the reason why Life Bloom ranked so much higher than the Rose King's Pendant is because unlike the Rose King's Pendant, Life Bloom actually gives critical, and it gives more attack. So overall, Life Bloom when comboed with the Toxin core that I just talked about, you just get monstrous attack stats. When it comes to pieces of gear, this gives the most attack as long as we're not talking about the weapons. And yeah, Life Bloom is definitely what you want to be aiming for in the end game, and it easily deserves the number 4 spot. If it gave any speed or any defense, I would have ranked it higher, but since it doesn't, it's just going to be sitting at number 4. My number 3 pick I think is going to be pretty obvious for you guys, but that is the Laser Core. The Laser Core is easily the best necklace in the game at the moment. 67,550 attack, 5 crit, 15 speed, and 62,550 HP. This is the definition of well-rounded. You're getting nearly the same amount of attack as HP, you're still getting a little bit of critical, and the plus 15 speed is really good considering how much attack and HP we're getting. So if you have a laser core, definitely use it over any other necklace in the game. The only issue with it is extremely hard to get, and they are very valuable on the market. I would have definitely ranked this at number 2 or maybe even number 1 if it gave any defense or higher crit, but since it doesn't, I'm going to be giving it the very solid bronze number 3. So my number 2 might be a little surprising, but my number 2 is the Armor of Photosynthesis. So this gives no attack and no crit, but it gives you so much health that it is probably the piece of gear that affects your stats the most besides what I have at number 1. So the Armor of Photosynthesis, when I put this thing on with no other gear, I'm getting plus 30 defense, 16 speed, and 275,000 plus HP, which gives me 4 million health. So this armor piece alone gets you to 4 million health. And I think that is why I'm giving it the number 2 spot. It is just so good defensively. It is hard to get, I will say that, but besides that, it is just the golden armor to use in the game right now because of how good the offensive ring and necklace are. You actually make up all your offense while using those, and then you can make up all your defense with the armor. So if you have the Armor of Photosynthesis, definitely be using it. If you don't have it, try to get it because it is easily the second best item in the game right now. So I think it is pretty obvious what my number 1 pick is since I haven't said this item yet. But it is the enchanted Excalibur of life. So like I said at the start of the video, I was only going to have 1 weapon in it because if I had more than 1 weapon in it, the weapons would take up almost every slot because you get so much damage from it. 810,000 damage from this weapon alone, and most of the weapons in the later game give over 500,000. But anyways, the reason why the enchanted Excalibur of life is number 1 is because it is by far the best offensive piece of gear in the entire game. I mean, it just gives you so much damage. You essentially need it if you're trying to be a high DPS player, and it is the golden weapon at the moment. It is the best thing you could get in the game pretty much. Anyways guys, thanks for watching my video going over what I think are the 10 best pieces of gear in the game. Comment down below your top 10 list, and obviously these are all just my opinions, none of these are facts. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later this week with more videos. Bye!